It's about that time of day again. My name is Joseph. It's already Thursday evening, June the 8th. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter. We're covering crude oil, S&P, gold, euro, and DAX tonight. Crude is range-bound after the sellers rejected lower prices this morning. So the plan is to buy low, sell high, and focus on failures until we see a successful breakout pullback tomorrow. The S&P is also range-bound, still the same range from earlier on this week, which tells us to keep buying low, selling high, avoiding the middle, and focus on failures. We got rollover tomorrow on the S&P, so we're still watching that volume count. Gold is bearish with a flag this evening, which tells us to sell the high of the flag or look for buyer failures as price moves back towards the low. Have a very interesting chart tonight on gold. Stay tuned for that. Euro is bearish with a spike in range tonight, which tells us to look for traps and failures up in the battle zone tomorrow. And the FDAX is also range bound with a bullish bias here this evening, which tells us to use the 2-try rule, looking for seller failures below the range lows tomorrow. Got a great newsletter in store for you guys and gals tonight. We got some rollover, we got some ranges to work with, and of course tomorrow's a Friday, so we got a great plan for tomorrow's Friday session. Hope you guys had a great week so far here, getting ready for the newsletter here tonight. Don't forget, the only place to watch the full-length version of this video is on our blog here at sidewaysmarkets.com. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, it's only a small snippet on the YouTube channel. Not to worry, there's a link in the description of that YouTube video. Follow that link and come join me here on the blog at Sideways Markets for the full-length version. While you're here on the blog, don't forget to join the newsletter. Join the mailing list. I'll send you an email every evening when the nightly newsletter goes live. Follow me on social, lower left-hand corner, many different ways in which you can follow me on social media throughout the week. I'm always posting important charts and updates there. Don't forget to grab those charts here tonight. How easy is that? All the charts from tonight's video, have them ready on your computer for tomorrow, right where it says click here to download today's charts. And make sure you grab your free pass. You're going to learn more with me in 90 minutes on that free pass than you will anywhere else on the interwebs. I can tell you that much. Grab that free pass, especially if you're a brand new trader out there. If you're new to SOT, don't forget frequently asked questions, right? Get all the who, what, where, when, and why. And of course, I'm always here to answer all your questions 24/7. Hit me up on the live support tool on the right-hand side of the website. Hope you guys are having a great week out there so far. Wrapping up here tomorrow morning. Don't forget, tomorrow, guys, we are still watching contract rollover this week. We were supposed to see volume shift today, but of course, like I said, last night's newsletter, we're watching contract rollover on the S&P for tomorrow, and then most likely early next week, it'll be DAX, Euro, following next week, right? So keep that in mind. Gold and crude, we'll wait until right next month, start worrying about that. Tomorrow's Friday, June the 9th. Again, watching for contract rollover tomorrow. We'll talk more about that in a moment on the S&P. News overnight, we got some news from our good friends in China at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time if you're trading the overnight Asian session. Tomorrow, though, you can see here not a lot on the calendar here tomorrow. As you can see, pretty much a wide open session through Europe, right? 4:30 a.m. from Great Britain. That's minor stuff. Labor force survey at 8:30 a.m. That's some all minor news tomorrow. I would imagine a lot of what's going to happen tomorrow is range-bound scenarios. We got some rollover. Got a lot of ranges here tonight on these charts. So expecting to have a great day tomorrow. I love trading ranges, but it may be a little bit slow out there as the markets digest. We heard from Comey today. And of course, again, as we start to go into that contract rollover. So as I always remind you, we never know what we're going to get ahead of time. We always come out every morning in our trade room at 8 o'clock Eastern time and we trade the plan. We always find a way, right, to find some great tradable opportunities along with all of our members. Also, one more thing tomorrow. Tomorrow is a Friday, and of course, Fridays always mean two things. One, early in, early out, right? Get to it early. And two, those prior week levels, right? Don't forget, as we finish up the week tomorrow, we start watching last week's open, high, low, close levels. We're watching that here in the charts here tonight. So two things on Fridays. One, early in, early out. At the end of the week, traders take bigger risks. Traders do things they wouldn't normally do during the meat and potatoes of the week. But towards the end of the week, traders take bigger risks. They tend to take bigger risks at the end of the week. And as volume drops up, right, as volume dries up at the end of the day on Friday, it is easy to get yourself in trouble. So I always recommend start watching market personality, start watching volume after 10:30 a.m. Eastern time on Friday morning. No new positions after 11 a.m. Eastern time. You're more than welcome to hold positions and manage positions into the weekend. I would not recommend, though, entering new positions in the afternoon session on Fridays, just because the volume drops a little bit, and of course, traders start taking bigger risks because they're trying to make up for lost time or whatever the case may be at the end of the week. So be aware of that, right? So prior week levels and early in, early out, that is a strategy overall, right, for every Friday. No major news tomorrow. No major news tomorrow. So, of course, we're not worried about that tomorrow. The big thing, of course, again, we'll be watching for rollover, right, on the S&P. We're probably not going to see rollover until next week, at least on the FDAX and the Euro. And, of course, talk more about that in next week's newsletter. Let's jump in tonight. We got a lot to cover here. Got a bunch of trading ranges on the chart. And, of course, we'll talk more about that as we go. We got crude, S&P, gold, Euro, DAX. The most important thing you want to be aware of when it comes to trading ranges is that the range itself, I want to look for range rotation. Range rotation means high to low, low to high, high to low. So if I'm coming off the low, I'm expecting to go back to the high, then back to the low, right? We call that range rotation. Another thing you want to remember about a trading range is that I want to avoid the middle, right? Stay away from the middle of that range, stay away from it. Try to buy the lows, right, and sell the highs, right? Now, I think we all pretty much know that about a trading range, right? So buy low, sell high. So how do we do that? How do we buy low and sell high? Well, again, using rotation as we go from the low up to the high, I like to use what I call the 2-try rule, and that is I'll expect the buyers to try once. I'll then expect them to pull back and try again. Now, I have kind of a cheat sheet for this. I like to look for separation and significance. So I like to make sure that that second move is separate from the first and has a little bit of meat on the bone, right? I want to see separation and significance. It needs to be pretty obvious, right, that there's a second attempt going on here. I call this the 2-try rule, right? So first try, break out. Second try, right, to break out as well. And then once I see those buyers, in this case, are failing, I'll look to sell back down into the market, right? So into that trading range. So range breakouts, most breakouts fail. Buy low, sell high. I want to sell high. How do I sell high? I use the 2-try rule. Let the buyers try once, pull back, let them try again. Again, the old kind of the nickname for the cheat sheet for it would be I want to see separation and significance. There should be separation between the two attempts, right? And the second attempt should be significant, right? It should look like they're trying to break out again, right? So no really wimpy second attempts there because they'll usually pull back and try again. Then, of course, as we rotate back down to that low, again, 1 try, right? 2 try, and then back in, right? Let those bears try once, let them try twice, and again, look to buy the low back in. Focus on failures, 2-try rule, right? So buy low, sell high, avoid the middle, and again, use that range rotation. Now, today we have a number of ranges, and you'll see that today we have a number of these that have either biases to them. So, for example, if the market is bearish going into the range, then selling the high is more reliable, right, than trying to buy the low. On the flip side, if we have a bullish bias going into that trading range, then obviously now it's much more reliable to buy the low, right, than it is to sell the high. So we'll use some biases along with this as well, right? So trading ranges means range rotation. Avoid the middle, buy low, sell high. Use that 2-try rule to focus on those failures. And again, separation, significance, you got it. And then watch for those biases. Ranges are really great structure. The problem is that a lot of people forget the plan when the market tries to break out. A lot of times breakouts look very convincing, right? And we saw a couple examples of that today on the S&P. So remember, don't forget the plan, right? When it looks really strong to break out, wait for it to try and then fade that move back in. Now, eventually here, one of these breakouts may be a breakout, pull back, and go, what we call a successful breakout pullback. When we do see a successful, strong breakout pullback, then we know, okay, now we have a trend that we can work with. So we're watching for that tomorrow. On to the charts now. That'll cover a lot of what we're looking for here, or we're looking at here tonight on most of these charts as we go into Friday. So a lot of ranges here tonight on the charts. So crude is range bound, like I said before, a lot of ranges, and sitting right on yesterday's low. Now, if you watched last night's newsletter, we talked about how to tell if you're getting rejection or acceptance, right? So great example today, right? Crude making it really easy for me to teach this stuff. Crude is range bound and sitting right on yesterday's low. What does that tell us? That tells us that sellers have rejected these lower prices from earlier today. The trading range, of course, tells us to buy the low, sell the high, and focus on failures. So we're keeping an eye on the prior week low all the way up there at 46.74, right? It's a good distance away, but always on our radar as we finish the week, right, tomorrow. So the first thing here that stands out today is this prior week low, right? You can see that prior week low, and again, we talked about this last night if you watched last night's newsletter. We're wondering how is it going to react when it goes below that low? Will it bounce back up, rejection? Or will you see it come down and keep going for acceptance, right? So very good example to see these the sellers rejecting that lower price. Now, with that said, once we have the rejection in play, now we're kind of sitting right on top of this prior day low. And here we have, this may end up becoming a triangle here tomorrow. It's a little bit tough to kind of guess it out right now. Right now, I would imagine there are two trading ranges on this chart. One would be kind of the middle there, right on top of that prior day low, and the other would be, right, kind of the big daily range here as well. You guys are experts on this. This is a bull bias into this trading range. Now, you're probably going to see both sides of the market with probably pretty much equal reliability tomorrow. It's a bull bias going into the short-term range. But if you look left, right, don't forget, right, we got 2 days of real strong move down here. So it's a kind of a bear bias going into the big range. So I think you'll be okay whether it's bullish or bearish tomorrow as far as buying low or selling high tomorrow. So here's my trading range, obviously, right? Here's the first attempt to go outside that range. 1 try, 2 try, failure, back in. 1 try, 2 try, failure, back in. Avoid the middle, right? Avoid the middle, buy that low, sell that high, and again, focusing on failures, the 2 try rule, just as we talked about right at the beginning. Now, we may see it really make a run back to that low, but remember, we saw the sellers reject that lower price earlier. So treat this as a range as well. 1 try, 2 try outside, range high, 1 try, 2 try outside. What is interesting is at the top of this range, you can actually see how we can incorporate the big range and the small range here as well. So if we really play our cards right tomorrow, 1, 2, and that will actually take advantage of both the big and the small range on this chart, right? Buy low, sell high, avoid that middle, watch that successful breakout pullback tomorrow, and keep an eye, if we do see a successful breakout pullback to the upside, keep an eye on those prior week levels. Don't forget, tomorrow's Friday. As we go into the end of the week, we always do expect to have those prior week levels on our radar. Doesn't mean we're going to get there. We still have to see this market kind of get itself together here going to the upside, but that'll make for an excellent runner target if we can catch the bulls, right, going higher tomorrow. We'll be opening up the trade room tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Don't forget, come out and join us. We'll trade the strategy together. Let's keep going. How about the S&P? S&P's range bound. Yeah, same range from earlier this week. It's been a pretty easy week for the S&P traders, so the plan hasn't changed much. Buy the low, sell the high, avoid the middle, right? Focus on failures until we see a successful breakout pullback. I sound like a broken record tonight, don't I, right? Probably the same thing we said last night. So we're still watching for contract rollover tomorrow as well. So watch the volume on the 917 contract tomorrow morning and make the move to the 917 when the 917 exceeds the 617. This is, of course, being, right, the 617 contract, June contract. So one thing to keep an eye on tomorrow, you got it, is that prior week high, which again is always a price magnet right, as we go into the end of the week, right? So that prior week high, they've really tried to get to it a couple times. A lot of times as we finish up the week on Fridays, we find ourselves rotating back up towards those prior week highs. Gorgeous examples here of the 2 try rule, isn't it? Same range, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. It's the same exact range I've had since Monday evening. And of course, 1 try, separation, significance, 2 tries, they fail, back inside that range. 1 try, yep, separation, significance, 2 tries, back inside that range. Up, here we go. Now you could call this 1 try, 2 try, and back in. I look at it more as 1 try, pull back, 2 tries, and back in. Can you see a pattern here, right? Can you see a pattern? 1 try, 2 tries, yep, back in. It's pretty simple. Like I said, we're going to come out and execute the trading strategy with all of our clients tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time in the trade room. I want you guys to be successful. I hope you guys will join me there tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. If not, don't forget, you can always learn more about our trading strategy by taking our free trial. I think we have one of the best free trials in the business, so check that out on the homepage here at schooloftrade.com. If you're watching the video right now on our YouTube channel, all the links for this stuff is in the description of the YouTube video. That'll take you over here to the website where you can join the free trial. You can learn more about our 3 levels of membership, and you can always hit me up on the live support tool. No, that's not me. That's me. That's me in the background. There you go. I'm in the background there, hanging out to answer your phone call when you guys call. All kidding aside, we had a great week this week. It's been a great second week of the month. Going into Friday tomorrow, early in, early out. Watch those prior week levels. Lots of ranges. You got the plan. Now plan that right now. Trade that plan tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow in the trade room. If not, no newsletter on Fridays. I'll see you next Monday evening for our nightly newsletter. Shall we do it again? Same time, same place? You got it, guys. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.